I've been hoping to get to net zero for our house and our transportation use for a couple of years, and we almost made it. We're a pretty ordinary family of four living in a 100-year-old house in Fresno with dual-pane windows, modern insulation, and a couple of options for our cooling and our heating system. In the end, we produced 6,733 kilowatts of electricity, and we consumed 6,920 kilowatts of electricity, leaving us with a deficit of 187 kilowatts. So close. So how did we achieve almost a net zero energy use? And what exactly is net zero anyway? Let's start with the production of energy. This comes entirely from our solar panels. We've installed a total of 6.3 kilowatts of electricity on our garage and on the top of our roof. That's the system that produced 6,733 kilowatts of electricity in 2021. We've installed the solar panels partly with a company and partly just as do-it-yourself homeowners. As you can see, the majority of our energy produced is during the summer. On the consumption side, we have mainly our heating and cooling, our electric cars, and then small things like appliances. Our house has a couple of heating and cooling options. We live in Fresno, which is very dry, especially during the summer, and so we're able to use a swamp cooler for a lot of our cooling needs. Swamp coolers are generally much more efficient than a regular air conditioning unit. Even when we do have to use a regular air conditioner, we tend to use our mini split systems, which are very efficient, much more so than regular whole house air conditioning systems. These provide air-conditioned air in only the rooms that we need it, not in the rooms throughout the house. For our cars, we have a Chevy Volt and a Chevy Bolt. The Chevy Bolt is an all-electric car that has about a 250-mile range. That takes us pretty much everywhere we need to go, and we can just plug it in overnight in the garage and it's ready for us the next morning. The Chevy Volt is a plug-in hybrid, which means that it has both a smaller electric battery that takes us about 50 miles, and then when that battery is depleted, it just switches over to a regular internal combustion engine, and you can go as far as you want on that engine, assuming that you have gas. During most of the year, we barely fill up on the Volt because we rarely take trips longer than 45 miles, especially around town. Besides the heating and cooling and the electric vehicles, we have just ordinary household appliances, things like computers, laptops, printers, microwave ovens, things like that take up some energy, but compared to the others, are relatively minimal energy consumers. So the good news is we did come very close to our goal of being net zero in energy use last year. But that asterisk is important, and it's why we as a country and as a world are going to find it very hard to really truly get to net zero in terms of our energy production and consumption. What I didn't consider in this formula is anything out of the regular electrical production. That is, anything powered by gasoline or natural gas or any other kind of fossil fuel that we tend to use in this world. So a couple of things that this includes are things like the cross-country trip we took. We took our Chevy Volt and drove it from Fresno all the way to Washington, D.C. and back. Plus, our daughter drives a Toyota Prius, our son drives a Honda Hybrid, and all together we consumed about 500 gallons of gasoline last year. We also need to include natural gas that we use when we heat the home. We use it for our stove and our water heater. Those, during most months of the year, consume about 1 therm of natural gas. In the winter, we also have a freestanding fireplace, and that consumes about 100 therms of natural gas for the winter. Outside the home, we're given free electricity and natural gas or energy use in places like where we work, where we shop, Anytime that we basically go into a store, as well as all of the energy that's used in the production of stuff that we buy, and all of the delivery that is used when things are delivered to us. And the other thing to note is that all of our electricity is simply not from renewables. So while we produced the 6,700 kilowatts of electricity, when we were consuming that electricity, a lot of it was at nighttime when we were charging our cars. A lot of that electricity is not come from renewables, it comes from natural gas. So in reality, our electric car is not a pure electric vehicle powered by free solar power. It's rather basically a natural gas vehicle. It's a very efficient natural gas vehicle, but nonetheless, it's not being powered by renewable energy. So basically, we're trying to increase the production of our renewable energy by putting on solar panels when we can. We're also trying to be more efficient in the consumption of energy by buying better cars that are more efficient, and also trying to use energy whenever possible during the day when California is actually producing renewable energy. But even then, we've got a long ways to go before we really achieve net zero in our own personal life, much less the life of our state or our country or the world. I hope this video has inspired you and has shown you at least a little bit of how to get towards net zero for the coming year.